Hi everybody, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Wednesday, January 27th of the year 2021, and I wanted to go ahead and film another stitch with me today. I've been taking advantage of the fact that I've only taken one course for this winter session. They only last 6 weeks, so I didn't want to take 3 or 4 classes because I knew it was going to be more intensive. And so, as it is, the workload is not too bad. So that's why I've been able to film during the week, during the week, in addition to the FlossTube updates. Anyway, I do invite you to go ahead and settle in. Grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. I had mine this morning. Cup of coffee, of course. And yeah, grab your stitching, your crocheting, your knitting, whatever you want to do. And let's spend a little bit of time together. Today's whip is going to be one of my Heaven and Earth Designs charts. This is The Eternal Promise, artwork by Matt Stewart, inspired by the Lord of the Rings characters, right? So this is Arwen and Aragorn. And if you've been watching my videos lately, then you know that this is going to be a major focus this year. This is my second largest whip, and so I want to make sure that it gets a lot of love, because it's also going to be a gift, so I want to be able to gift this sooner rather than later. And I also noticed as I was prepping and getting all set up, I noticed that this is going to be the first time I do a stitch with me using the 25 count. So I hope we can get through this without too many earthquakes. It's just going to be a lot closer to the camera than usual. So yeah, here we go. And this is going to be a major focus next month as well. Again, major focus all year round, but definitely next month, because next month for Full Coverage FanX, for the book challenge, they're doing a romance genre, and one of the romance novels they've chosen is Outlander. They choose three a month. So this month it was Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, and The Great Gatsby for the classics. And then for romance, they've chosen Outlander. I don't even know what the other two are, to be honest, because I know I'm probably not gonna get around to them. But the way it works is they take the page number, multiply by 10, and that's how much we need to stitch. And apparently Outlander is somewhere around 850 pages, which means we have to stitch 8,500 stitches, thereabouts. I don't remember the specific number, but here we are. I think I'm gonna have to do penalty stitches or something from my challenge group, so I'm gonna have to make adjustments, because that's a lot of stitches, and then in addition to like regular weekly tasks or what have you, it's just a lot, so I'll have to make do somehow. But anyway, a lot of the other challenge groups are also shifting gears for the new month. Enchanted Stitching announced their movie for February. It's going to be Cool Runnings, which is actually a Disney movie that I have not seen, so that'll be interesting. And then for Magical Stitches, this month it's been kind of like an introduction month, so it was a way not just for the new members to get used to the system, like how it works, how tasks work, how to start getting used to matching whips to prompts, but it was also a way for the admins to kind of get a taste of where everybody is at in terms of stitchy time. So that way when they assign teams, they can be sure to try to spread it out more evenly. We're gonna be starting everything. Everything's gonna kick off in February. We're gonna be doing the Percy Jackson books this year. So they should be coming out with the announcement sometime this week. So that, oh, here we go in one knot. They should be coming out with the announcement this week so that we can know which teams we're gonna be on. It's not gonna be a competition. It's not gonna be like the Harry Potter year where it was very it was very cutthroat, unfortunately. Last year it wasn't as much. Last year, like, there was still a little bit of competition, but not too much. It's not like there was like a prize or anything. And this year they've toned it down even further. They've made it so that it's they've allowed an option. So for the people that don't care about the competition, they can be helpers. And oh my goodness, it's gonna drive me insane. It keeps nodding up. They've made a team called the Helpers. So it's not even a team, it's just people that want to stitch for the sake of stitching. They don't really care about the competition. So what they're gonna do is this, whatever stitch count they do for the week or for the month, it's gonna be split between all the teams. So they're not working for one single team, they're just doing everything. So that's coming up this week for next month, so we can kick off the regular monthly and weekly tasks. So I'm eagerly awaiting that announcement. But besides that, Jessie Marie also announced her Whip Go calls or numbers for the month, and it was actually really cool because she ended up calling the numbers. So spoiler alert, I guess. She called out the numbers 4 and 20, and my 4 and 20 are here. I can show you the board. So this is my Whip Go board. My number 4 was Flowers of the Alphabet, which, if you see my regular update videos, you'll know that I'm working on that regularly anyway, because I'm participating in a year-long event where we have to work on an alphabet. So every couple of weeks or so they switch letters, and so hopefully by the end of the year I'll have a finish on that. But then Full Moon was number 20, and I already made plans to finish that this month, so it was lovely. It was a good coincidence. I very much approve of this month's numbers. But yeah, what I've decided I'm gonna do is because there's a couple of pieces on that board. Here, let's just bring it back up. Sorry. Like Horde Flag is very close to being finished. Flowers of the Galaxy is also very close to being finished. There's a couple others. Winnie the Pooh should be finished soon because it's supposed to be a present for a friend of mine that's pregnant. The baby's due in May, so I'd like to get it done before the baby's due, before baby arrives. And Harry Potter, I suppose, the Hogwarts Castle over here. I would like to get that finished somewhere around July. But I just, if I finish one of the projects before they're called, then I'll just replace them. It's fine. I've got plenty of whips that I can work on. So yeah, so that's what's happening. Again, kind of shift of gears. I do have a list of questions here. One of the FlossTube tags, thanks to Daphne for it. She did it on her stitch with me, so kind of borrowing it. But I am going to be omitting some questions, and especially because I know that I have answered a lot of the tag questions here on these, especially towards the beginning when I started doing them. So I'll try to not repeat myself. But since we're on the topic of Stitch With Me, Tess from Tess Stitches did do her first Stitch With Me, and I could listen to her talk for hours. So if you would like to spend a nice quiet time, I think hers was like 35 minutes, then I recommend you go and check her Stitch With Me. Okay, I missed a stitch, that's what. Okay, so first question is, am I a morning or a night person? And so I was a morning person until I met my boyfriend. He's very much a night person, so obviously that has that's affected my own schedule as well. Because if we spend time together, then we're often playing World of Warcraft or watching TV into the night. When I first met him, I was the kind of person that I would like just turn off around 10 o'clock at night. I was useless after 10 o'clock at night. But now, like, here we are staying up until like 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes playing. So yeah, it's been a shift, but ultimately I can be up early in the morning as long as I have my coffee, especially with like school and stuff, right? So classes, I have next semester my class is going to be at 9 a.m. and that's fine. I can be up at 9 a.m. I'll just need my cup of coffee and then I'm good to go. That's all I need. Next question is, am I afraid of the dark? And the answer is no. When I was little, I guess I was. I mean, I think we all were a little afraid of the dark when we were younger. But I need total and complete darkness in order to be able to go to sleep. Even to the point of having to turn off the lights outside my bedroom door so that I don't get the light coming in through the cracks on the bottom of the floor. So yeah, I've been changing a little bit, I guess, but yeah, I'm okay with the dark. Next one is, am I a tidy person or a messy person? I would love to be able to say I'm a tidy person, but I mean, have you guys seen this desk? Yeah, no, and this is like this. You guys should see the other side of the desk. I'm not gonna show you that side because it is embarrassing. I'm organized when it matters. When it comes to work, when it comes to school, I do like to keep a very organized desk. Because you have to be able to, if somebody asks you for something, you have to be able to know exactly where that something is, right? They ask for a document, they ask for a folder, you have to know where it is. So I can be very organized when it needs to be. And even this, like, it does get to me a lot. So I feel like what I do is if I know I'm working on a piece, and I just lost my place. Oh, there we go. If I know that I'm working on a piece, then I'll leave them out, because I'm using those colors. But eventually I do go ahead and do a massive cleanup session. Sorry if I get off frame, guys. Again, this is the first time I'm doing this. But yeah, once I finish with that project, or if I know I'm gonna be putting away that project for a while, then I'll go ahead and put the colors away. So yeah. Next question is, do I like to be on time, or am I usually tardy? I'm the kind of person that needs to get where she needs to go 10 minutes early. Especially if it's somewhere that I'm not familiar with, or say I'm going to school. I learned the hard way that I need to get there at least like 30 minutes early so that I can find proper parking. But But the same goes for, you know, wherever I go. I mean, maybe not necessarily, you know, places like Target or whatever. For those, especially nowadays, like with, you know, the pandemic, I now like, and I usually did this before anyway, but I like to park away, like super away from the building, because that means you're away from other people as well. But it's so not so much for that, but when it comes to other places, then, oh, this is gonna be going up actually, then I do like to be there super early. The next question is, did you like school? And the answer is yes, but I did not like testing. And to this day, I don't like testing. I love to learn. I can absorb the information. I know everything. I can learn things. But when it comes to test time, I just blank out. I don't know what happens to me. I just blank. I freak out. So I've tried, like, you know, I'll memorize things if I can, if it's that kind of, you know, test. And that usually pans out, right? So I can get good scores that way. But other times I just blank. So I'm trying to be better about it. Next question is, have you skipped class? Obviously, in high school you couldn't. If you, at least in my school, if you skipped class, they called your house, they called your parents to let them know. But when it came to college, at that point, then yeah, sometimes, you know, you just have to kind of. I would just kind of have to determine, like, okay, well, I've got this big project or this big test to study for this class, and I kind of don't necessarily need, I didn't even need the stitch. I don't necessarily need to go to this class, or I can, you know, get the notes from somebody else or something. You just kind of, you have a little bit more liberty to be able to determine what's best for you at that time. So yeah, I confess, I did skip class, but it was like to go to the library, right? So it's not like I skipped class to, you know, go off somewhere. I skipped class so I could prepare for another class. Next question is, do you bite your nails? I don't. Well, they're not that long right now, but I do like to have long nails, so you can't really have long nails if you're gonna bite them. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to nervous habits, I have other nervous habits, but not biting nails is not one of them. Next question, do you forgive easily? And the answer is, depends. It depends on the crime. It depends on the offense. During the pandemic, I kind of reconnected with a couple of friends that I had in high school, and it's not like we're buddies now. Well, actually, not even high school. It was like middle school. It was like elementary, middle school. We were young. Because as we got older, they didn't treat me quite right. They would put trash in my backpack and just not, I don't know. They thought it was teasing. They thought it was good fun, but I didn't appreciate it. So, like, as we're, you know, reconnecting and kind of checking in with each other, I kind of have that in the back of my mind, and I don't mind. It's not like I'm, oh, you know, like, do you remember what you did type of thing. It's more along the lines of thinking, like, I wonder how much she's changed, because she was very nice when we started reconnecting. They've both been very nice, but there's that, you know, in the back of my mind. So I know that they've probably matured, so I don't hold it against them. So I guess the short answer is I forget, but I don't forget. And it does, like, again, depending on what they did, it does take me a little bit longer to forgive, but I never forget. Next question is, do you prefer the beach or the mountains? Beach. 100% beach. I am a SoCal girl. I love the beach. I used to work with adults that were on the autism spectrum. Our job, or I worked for a program that was to help them to get them integrated into the community as much as their abilities will allow. And one of the clients I had lived like 5 minutes away from the beach, and unfortunately he was not an outside person. And I remember one of the things we tried to get them to do was like exercise, right? Kind of, even if it's just like a walk around the park. And I remember recommending a walk around the beach, and he was flat out like, no, I hate the beach. So I remember what I used to do was, going back to the whole being early or tardy, I would get there like 30 minutes or so before I needed to pick him up, so I could have some time to spend by myself at the beach. And it was glorious. It was such a nice way to start out the day, because you know, I'd get there at like 7 o'clock in the morning, so you know, besides the occasional jogger or somebody like riding on their bike, it was empty, right? So it was just really nice. And then sometimes, you know, the program ran from 8 o'clock to like 2 in the afternoon. So sometimes, depending on the day, I would also go to the beach afterwards. So yeah, definitely a beach girl. Did you ever go camping? And the answer is nope. I like my indoor plumbing. I think it's glorious, and I don't want to live without it. I think I could survive for like a weekend. But yeah, I like indoor plumbing. It's great. If it's up to me, I would not do it. Do you still watch cartoons is the next question. I mean, if we're talking like children's cartoons, like Looney Tunes, what have you, I don't. But I do still watch Disney. I mean, Disney's timeless in my opinion. So yeah, there'll always be those movies. I mean, even now there's like adult cartoons, right? So I don't watch, and I think the only one I watch like that is Rick and Morty. I don't watch too many of those. Next question is, have you ever been hospitalized? I have had a couple of surgeries, but the one event that does come to mind, and I'm just gonna go ahead and mark things off on pad and keep it here. But the one event that does come to mind was when I was younger. I think it was like 15, maybe 14 or 15. And we went to Mexico to visit my family, and my hometown's in the middle of the desert, right? And we went there in the middle of summer. So it was very hot. And then we came home, and immediately after coming home, I had to go to a retreat from my youth group at the time. And I guess I mean, I don't drink enough water to begin with. It's bad. I that's something I need to fix, and I know it. But you know, we spent like a week out there in the desert, and again, I didn't drink enough water. And it's not like, you know, I just don't notice it, you know, but my body notices it. So what ended up happening was, I think it was just the second day of the retreat. I did not last. That's when my body, you know, like the lack of water kind of caught up to me. and so I unfortunately had to make an emergency exit for the retreat. So, I mean, luckily it was just dehydration, right? It wasn't anything too bad. But I just remember being super embarrassed, and I just felt bad because I had really been looking forward to the retreat. And but it ended up being kind of like an inside joke between the youth group director and myself. Like, now, after that, every time I told him that I was gonna go visit my family in Mexico, that he would just be like, okay, just make sure you drink enough water. But yeah, that was, again, I try to drink enough water, but I don't, unfortunately. Next question. Have you ever met any celebrities? And the answer is yes. My dad used to work for a record company, so he sometimes, every now and then, we'd be able to meet some of the music artists, which was fun. But I've also met like celebrities like randomly. The one event that comes to mind is a few years ago. I went to see Into the Woods. I forget what the name of the theater is here in LA. It wasn't like anything big like the Pantages. It was I think the name is the Ahmed Theater. I forget. Point being, it's a much smaller theater, so performances and stage productions are more intimate. And I went there, and I met the actress that plays Penelope in one of my favorite shows, Criminal Minds. Her name is Kristen something, Van something. I feel bad now because I don't know, I only know the character's name. But yeah, it was super cool. And she was super cool about it, because at first, it was a typical, like, should I go up to her, shouldn't I? I don't know, should I go? But I ended up doing it because, I just figured, what are the odds, right? Plus, like, Pixar didn't happen. So yeah, so I went up to her, and I kind of just like introduced myself, and I told her that I was a big fan of the show, that I was a big fan of Penelope, because Penelope's actually like my favorite character from the show, which was another reason why I just couldn't pass it up. And she was very polite, she was very nice about it. One of the things that I mentioned was that I liked how Penelope, because the character is a very, very colorful character, both, figuratively and literally, because she's always wearing super bright colors, which, she works with a team that has to investigate murders, right? So she's constantly surrounded by all these somber topics and pictures and what have you. And she never, at least, until I actually haven't even finished this. I know the show's over, but the last season hasn't made it to Netflix, so I haven't watched the last season. Anyway, up until the point that I've seen, she has her ups and downs, but she never really loses that colorful personality. She always looks on the bright side. And, it kind of said something, very briefly said something along those lines. So she thanked me for it, and then of course we took a picture, and then we just went off on our merry way. I couldn't tell you where she sat or anything like that, because it was outside. It was before the performance even started. So yeah, so like once I saw her, that's it. I kind of just let her be. But yeah. Another fun fact. This is like the worst question, because now I'm like blanking out on people's names, and I shouldn't. And he's an amazing guy too. The guy who played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. God bless it. It's on the tip of my tongue too. But So yeah, okay, so this is a fun story. So he actually went to my church when I used to live in Woodland Hills, in the San Fernando Valley. He used to go to my church, and on one occasion when we saw him, you know, it was the typical, like, we didn't know for sure if it was him. It was like, oh yeah, he kind of looks a lot like him, huh? Is it? And my dad placed a bet. He was like, because, you know, at that point we were like too shy, you know, we were too shy to go up to him and ask. So my dad's like, if you go up to him and ask him, I'll give you $50. So of course, you know, I'm like, challenge accepted. And I went up to him and I asked him, and he's like, he was very nice about it. He's like, well, I guess your dad owes you $50. And that was it, really. We were, you know, this was like close to when the service was about to, because this was like a church, right? So it was super close to when the service was about to start. So there was, you know, there was no opportunity for a photo op. Oh God, yeah, no, I can't remember his name. I feel so bad. But yeah, my dad never paid. Okay, so next class is, have I ever won something? And I, you know, it's not anything major or anything, but the first job that I had out of college, back when I graduated in 2016, I actually, do I want to go there? No, I think I'm gonna go up. The first job that I had out of college, they had a, you know, a big holiday party, and they had a raffle, you know, thing with a lot of, you know, there were a lot of like gift bags, a lot of prizes. There were like vouchers for movie nights, date nights. And the second prize winner, or the second prize, whatever you, it was a voucher for a day off, right? And this was like, you know, no strings attached. Oh, this is gonna be in the bottom. It was no strings attached, kind of like, it was completely separate from whatever PTO you had accrued. Like, it was a day off, and there was no conditions, there was no terms or conditions. And I won that prize. I was the one that got the day off, and of course I immediately you know, used it up, because this was during this was very close to when we were gonna all go off on our holiday vacations. I think they gave us like a week off or something. But that year we had some family visiting. My cousin visited, and she was gonna take her 2 daughters to Disneyland for the first time. And at first I had kind of, you know, in my experience, the policy when it comes to PTO and vacation time is, it's very frowned upon / not allowed to request time off when we're already getting time off. So if they're giving us a long weekend, say they're giving us Monday off, you can't ask for Friday off. You can't add more vacation time to the time that you're already getting. So I had kind of resigned myself to the fact that I wasn't going to be able to go with my cousin when she took her kids, her 2 daughters, to Disneyland for the first time. But then I won this thing, so of course I had to take advantage of it, because again, the free day off came with no conditions, so I could use it whenever I wanted to. So I took full advantage of it and used it up. so I could go to Disneyland with my family. And it was lovely. It was so much fun. There's just, there's just something about being there for the first time. Or, with somebody, when somebody's experiencing it for the first time, I suppose. Especially children. Next question is, if money were no object, what would I want for a birthday present? That's a hard one. If money, because money's always an object, right? I feel like that's, I don't know, like if it were possible, I feel like that's what I would ask for. It's been a rough year. I would just ask for some relief. But honestly, I would just want, I don't know. I really don't know. I would just want to be comfortable. Like, as a birthday present? Yeah, I don't know. Something that I could enjoy with my friends or my boyfriend. If you could live anywhere, where would I want to live? I don't know. I'm very happy here in Long Beach. I like being near the beach. Yeah, I've never been one to, because we live, close to the beach. We live close to Disneyland, but it's not like we live in downtown anywhere, I've never been one of those people that just has to be in the middle of everything. I like my privacy. I like being able, I mean, obviously, like you've heard the traffic noises, so it's not like it's a quiet neighborhood here, but the apartment complex itself is very private. Like, there's not too many issues with having nosy neighbors or anything like that, so yeah, I don't know. I would live anywhere where we could be comfortable and happy. What do you do on a typical Friday night? That's easy. Virtual stitchers. Virtual stitchers. Friday nights are usually the time to go on there. It's fun. We goof off, and oftentimes it does get crowded. Last week we actually had we had to have two screens, like even on the big computer monitor screen, we had to have 2 pages of like the little participant screens because there were so many of us. So yeah, sometimes it does get a little bit crowded, but we manage. We have additional rooms in case people don't want to be in that crowded space. But yeah, like quarantine Friday nights are definitely virtual stitchers nights. Maybe once upon a time I would have gone out with my boyfriend, or just gone out anywhere, right? Gone out to dinner, gone out to the movies, Disneyland, downtown Disney, what have you. But this is life. It's almost been a year now, so yeah, this is just how things are. It's not that I don't enjoy my time with virtual stitchers. They've been a lifesaver. Having their company has been really nice the last year. I didn't join immediately after the quarantine started. I forget when I joined that group, but it's honestly been the best thing to happen to me this year. Yeah, it's just been a bit hard because I do miss being able to go out without worrying about stuff. I miss going to Disneyland. They did away with the annual pass holder program, which was huge. I never thought they would do that. But it makes sense that they did it, because they can't guarantee anything now. Even, the whole purpose of having an annual pass, and it looks like we're gonna be finishing off the thread here. The whole purpose of having a pass is to have like some perks, and I'm not talking about like discounts, or my pass, for example, included parking, so I didn't have to pay for parking every time I went. But they also pretty much guaranteed admission, right? You can go whenever you want, and you just have to scan your pass, and that's it, you're in. But now with the pandemic, they can't do that, because they started having to juggle. And when I say they, I mean mostly in Florida, because over here in California they haven't. I don't know how far they got into letting people back in terms of hotels and stuff. I know that they opened up downtown Disney, some of downtown Disney, not all of it, but some of downtown Disney, and they've now opened the entrance pavilion of California Adventure, where the shops are, for the same reason. They just opened up the shopping and the food. They don't have any other rides open. But yeah, so with an annual pass, it's you're paying a ton of money for something that you're not using anymore. Even with the pavilion open and with downtown Disney open, like, yes, okay, you can kind of use your discounts for it, but you're only using like 10% of what you can use your pass for, right? If you're not riding the rides, then yeah, it's just very limited. So yeah, it was very sad news when I heard that they were going to be doing away with the program. For me, it didn't particularly make too much of an impact, because I had already requested a refund. But yeah, I guess I just have to hold out hope that I'll be able to join whatever program they come up with to replace it. Not anytime soon though. Somehow, sometime in the future, I may be able to be a frequent visitor to the parks. But it won't happen anytime soon, and I know it. I just have to power through. So yeah, I don't have any more questions here. I only wrote a handful because the tag itself is pretty long, but I didn't want to do all of it in one single video. There were over like 100 questions. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave a question or a topic. If you want to request that I work on something, feel free to do that as well. Now that I've kind of realized that I can go ahead and do it with the 25 count, I feel like it's okay. I mean, I don't know, I may have gone off frame a few times, and for that I'm sorry, but I also feel like with Stitch With Me's and Craft With Me's, people are working on their own thing as well, so. But anyway, yeah, I also, and please, I hope that you do leave your opinion on this one, because I'm legitimately curious. I'm wondering how many people would be interested in, like, if I did the same project for all the Stitch With Me's until that project got finished. If you would like to see that progress being made live, as it were. Or if you're okay with the variety, because I personally like the variety. But I could also try to maybe choose one project and do it like every other stitch with me. I don't know. Just, yeah, leave a comment, tell me what you think, let me know so that I can see. But as I mentioned, next month I probably will go back to doing the alternating between Stitch with Me and update videos, because school is going to start back up, or I mean the next semester is going to start back up, and I'm taking several classes, so I'm gonna be a busy bee. Sadly, less stitching time, but it is what it is. You know, there's a time for everything. January was a really nice time to be able to get a lot of stitching done, but it is now time for something else, for, you know, for school. it's turn, I should say, not a time. But, so yeah, so I think I'm gonna leave it here since we finished this one row. Thank you as always for joining me. Thank you for powering through this little experiment with 25 count. And yeah, again, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have a productive week. And as always, when you find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, guys. Bye.